Hello, thank you for tuning in. My name is Larry Duncan Allen, and this is No More Water by Next Time. I have an interesting subject for today. It's about segregation. Many people are talking about reinstituting segregation, whereas especially the orange man, Donald Trump, he mentioned about putting up separate water fountains, and many white people are coming to black people asking them what do they think about it, and they're shocked when many black people say they don't really care, and many have said they welcome it. But many of these things are being said for the shock value. They just want to get a rise out of black people. They've been trying ever since Trump's been elected, just to get a rise out of black people, and because we're not paying them any attention. We're minding our own business, and they can't take that. People do not like it when we go off to ourselves, mind our own business, and especially if we go and try to build our own. There have been many um, videos that I've seen of black people talking about black people wasn't doing well doing segregation, but many were. When I look back and I see the listen to many Martin Luther King speeches and see his videos, he wasn't so much really that much in on integration. He was mostly talking about freedom, black people having rights. He was for civil rights because see many people don't realize that during the civil rights movement, black people was still under Jim Crow, which was a form of slavery. Because black people was doing so well about 10 years after slavery, white people got upset and they took black people's property, gave it to white people, and ruined the black communities and instituted Jim Crow as a semi-form of slavery to still hold black people back. Many black people still thrived under Jim Crow. That's why they had to bomb cities. Black people set up over 60 cities, all black towns doing well under Jim Crow. Whenever we're left alone, we do well by ourselves. I have a few videos I'm going to play because some of these ridiculous people who think black people can't do well on our own, which we always have. Our problem is that we always get interfered with. Right now, there's supposed to be integration, but even Martin Luther King said, I think I integrated my people into a burning house. But see, integration is you come to ours, we come to yours. But it didn't happen that way. We went to theirs, ours went out of business. They weren't coming in the black community. But they were even doing segregation. They was coming around black people, coming to black clubs. But the problem was that when they came in, the club owners made the black people on the front seat get up, took away all the paper plates, and I brought the good china out for the white people. Oh, we thought so sick back then. And some still do now. Make them sit in the back. And don't let them in. That's why I didn't get doing segregation. They could come to ours, but we couldn't come to theirs. Now, I'm going to show you a video of some people. Watch this video real quick of this person. And I'm gonna give my insights on it.
The fantasization of segregation that y'all new blacks are doing right now on social media is very scary to fucking see. And there's no fucking way that y'all sat down and y'all had access and actually talked to the elders in y'all families that grew up or lived during those time periods to sit here and get on Beyonce's internet and say that, oh, and clap and be excited for segregation to come back or the idea of it to come back. Like, a lot of y'all need to go read a fucking book. Go read a fucking book. I've already made a video debunking all this black wealth myth during fucking segregation that y'all sit here and get on and talk as if there were just these black Wall Streets and black wealth all across America. Majority of black people during segregation, especially if they lived in the South, were in fucking poverty. these black doctors and black schools and all this black shit that y'all keep trying to fantasize. Like, number one, it wasn't as if they had the best of equipment or the best of education. Like, and most of the supply, like, we didn't own any of the manufacturing or anything of that nature, so we still had to go get shit from white people. Like, black people stuck together back then because we had to. And like, we are still segregated. We're still segregated. Cause even back then, during segregation, when black people got money, got the wealth, and had the resources, they didn't stay in the South to be fucking segregated. Fast forward to today, motherfuckers who get the resources don't stay in the fucking hood. Like, y'all act like we ain't still relatively, for the most part, still segregated. Y'all think because they slap a black owned sign on something that, like, bro, look at our clubs. Look at most of our schools. Look at most of our where we fucking live. We're still segregated. There's just laws in place now so that we don't get slung up on trees and we have equal access to shit or equal opportunity. But then y'all argue against that shit. You know,
And while I'm on the topic, if y'all so worried about being segregated from everybody else, which what do you want? Because last time I checked, y'all want y'all own everything. Y'all want black shows, black movies, black radio, black music, black neighborhoods, black churches, black grocery stores, black owned restaurants where you got to pay $15 just to sit down at the table, and a 22% gratuity no matter how many people sitting at the table eating, no matter how good or bad the service was. Y'all want all black everything anyway, but then y'all want to cry about segregation. Make it make sense. What do you want? And if you don't want to be segregated, which ain't nobody segregating us, stupids, but if you really were fearful that people were trying to segregate themselves from us, at what point do you turn inward and say, well, you know, what are the reasons why people don't want to be around us? It can't just be because of the color of our skin or because our hair grows up and not down. It can't be the reason. Because most of y'all got wigs on anyway, so they can't even tell that our hair is kinky no more. So it can't be about that. Perhaps it could be about the fact that everywhere we go, we somewhere loud and obnoxious. It might be about the fact that our kids, no matter what school we send them to, our kids seem to be at the bottom of every single school we send them to. Our kids seem to be overrepresented in special education. Our kids seem to be overrepresented in suspensions and expulsions. Perhaps the issue is with the fact that 60-something% of our babies are born out of wedlock. Perhaps there's an issue with the black communities. You look around, you see more liquor stores and check cashing places than banks and grocery stores. And everybody seems to be okay with that because they keep on living there. Somebody's selling the drugs, somebody doing the drugs. I see crackheads and dope fiends all day long. And I also see the ones supplying and serving them. Let's be for real. Somebody's doing the shooting and the killing in the communities. Somebody's doing the making the babies and leaving them. Somebody's failing to teach their kids how to read. Somebody's failing to teach their kids how to articulate themselves, how to behave in public. We have some issues within our community that need to be worked out, but y'all would rather just blame white people for everything and be mad at white people for not wanting to be around us when we actually could straighten some things out ourselves. But y'all just gonna call me a coon and a whatever for trying to tell y'all what to do. And that's exactly why I tapped out. I ran a school. I created this whole school specifically for black kids in the hood, to take them out of the country, to show them something different, to expose them to a better world. And what they do, what did their parents do? Tear it up. So I tapped out. I don't even care no more. But me and my black child and my black child's black daddy are gonna figure it out. We're gonna get it right. Ain't nobody gonna subjugate us. Ain't nobody gonna feel the need to segregate themselves from us, because we are necessary, we are needed, we are appreciated, we are valued, and we are our authentic black selves. The whole
Same old thing. Black was my audio on last time. Same old thing. Black people got to do it perfect or we fail. Let's go over that. They just need to call you all those names. You know why? Again, what did she talk about? The lowest part of the black community. That what everyone do to us. They go to the bottom of the barrel. If she's around loud and obnoxious people, then she needs to change her environment. Because I don't see all of that. Yeah, we have some loud, obnoxious people. We have some who's not. And when it comes to the schools, black kids in schools, who are those schools? Who are those schools designed by? You know what? Black people made a lot of inventions, and they didn't go to those white schools. Matter of fact, black people haven't been inventing less since integration, since we still going to integrated schools. When black people go places, we don't. They don't want to be around black people. It ain't got nothing to do with anything black people did. It's your black skin. Because you know what? When black people was walking around here with suits on, the black women got on those nice printed dresses with little hats on like they're going to church. We were treated worse then than now. See, it's nothing we do to make them hate us. They just hate us. And we're not trying to be around them. Because when black people move into these neighborhoods, who do they move around? Other black people. I don't know if my audio was on after the first video. I just looked down and noticed it wasn't registering at first. But I had explained how the other guy said, where was all the black doctors at? We had them. We had Dr. A.M. Jackson here in East St. Louis, Illinois. We had Dr. A.M. Jackson, who A.M. Jackson School is named after. I'm saying this over in case my audio wasn't on. We had Dr. Weathers, who the old Weathers is named after. Dr. Frazier, right down on Gady. They was right there near each other. Right there near each other, those doctors. We had Dr. Garrett, the dentist. See, when integration came, we went to theirs, they didn't come to ours, and our stuff went out of business. As I said, Martin Luther King, he wasn't that much all into integration. He's more into rights to get us away from under Jim Crow. Not so much trying to be around white people. When black people move, they're supposed to move out the hood. That's the lowest part of black society. When they move around other black people in other nice areas. If you go to Belleville, you got black areas up there. They move around other, even when they go to those nice high classy areas. You know, their neighbors are black. There may be a few other peoples around, but they'll be gone after a while. And it's not because some black people did. They just don't like us. And we have to quit thinking it's something we did to make them not to like us. But we don't try to go and be around them. But you say, well, you go up to these stores. I heard one white man, he said, if black people don't like white people, why do they come up around us? Who do they be with when they come up around you? They be with other black people. They come up there because that's where the services are at. Because of integration, that's where the services are at. So that's why they come. And it's not that black people, you say black people don't like you. What have you shown that you like black people? We didn't do the things to you that you did to us. You don't get it. Don't nobody bother you when you come in our neighborhoods. White people have a history of bothering us when we come to your neighborhoods. And not only just the residents, we have to worry about the police also bothering us when we come in your neighborhood. I read and I talked to a white woman who said, well, her car stopped in a black neighborhood and said the people were so kind, they helped me out a lot. I say, black people are always good for white people. Mine stopped. And mine stopped, they probably just ride right by me. A black woman, I see them riding right by. But but I told her, if my car stop in your neighborhood, and it has before, they'll call the police on me. And they have. I told this before while I was riding the scooter and I had a friend of mine on the back and the belt broke. But just so happened, I know they do that sometimes. It was a big scooter. I had a trunk on it. I had a spare belt and some tools in there. And I put the belt on. And he was in front of this white man's house. He came out and was talking to me. And she said how nice he was. I said, he going in there to call the police. He said, oh, you always think somebody's doing something. 5 minutes later, here come the police, as I told you. Police sat there and watched me for a while. He saw what I was doing. I guess he read the places. My plates and everything was good. He just took on off. We help them. They call the police on us. When they're homeless and need help, they come into our neighborhoods. Because they know their people not going to do nothing for them. And see, this black woman, she think that black people, see one thing about black people, we do something with them, some black people, and they don't do right. That means you got to end the program and ruin it and just forget it all. You know what they do with white people? White people mess up all the time, but they keep on doing it. Keep on until they get it right. Black people won't mess up one time and that's it. That's just the end of the whole program. Most white businesses get some type of government subsidies or really government welfare. Most corporations. So how are they doing so well? We don't get it, but yet we still make it. Most white people don't make it without some kind of help along the way. Black people don't get the help, but still make it. The reason most black people don't care about segregation anymore, well, we'll get his integration done. We just gonna have our own anyway. Just leave us alone this time and let us have it. Don't ruin us every time we start doing well. Burn us out when we start doing well. The black schools wasn't so great, but we had more black intellectuals came out of those black schools than we do have now. We had black leaders came out of those black schools. You know, one of the problems now, we don't have any black leaders. We just have a lot of people doing stuff, and the women run the things, and they just so unorganized. So we need to get back to thinking about ourselves. That's why the white people act so surprised when you say you don't care about integration. I mean segregation. You wouldn't mind it. I'm gonna let you listen to Umar Johnson. He's gonna explain everything those two just said.
Black people were learning just fine prior to 1954. They did not desegregate public schools so black children could get a better education. They desegregated black schools because they were concerned about the growth of black excellence. Keep in mind, we invented the gas mask before we went to school with white children. We invented the stoplight before we went to school with white children. We invented the refrigerated truck before we went to school with white children. They did not desegregate to help us. They desegregated to hinder us. They saw Black Wall Street in Tulsa. They saw Black Wall Street in Rosewood. They saw Black Wall Street in Wilmington, North Carolina. They saw Black Wall Street in Charleston. They saw independent black communities even here in Ohio. And they decided that if we want to stop the progress of black people, we must take over control of their children's education. And when they desegregated the schools, they did not bring black teachers with black students. The biggest layoff in public education is between 1954 and 1974 of black teachers. They brought our children into the schools. They fired the teachers. And so when our black children were bused into white schools, having to deal with not only bigoted white students, but bigoted white teachers, there was no black teachers in there to protect them. And because many school districts said, we're not going to integrate. We don't care what you say. So the federal government came up with a plan called special education. And in 1974, they invented special ed to give white school districts the opportunity to make money off of the miseducation of black children. And basically the agreement was, take these black children into your white schools. We will let you resegregate, but you can't do it based on color. We're going to give you 13 disabilities. And the main disability has been the so-called learning disability. And if you get your white racist school psychologists who still work in Cleveland schools today to evaluate these black children and call them reading disabled, math disabled, comprehension disabled, intellectually disabled, emotionally disabled, you can separate them from the white children in a class of their own. So special education was created to undo the effects of desegregation. Now, let me say this. Black boys don't need a special school. Black boys don't need a special curriculum. Black boys don't need a special education. The problem is they have flipped this situation on its head, and they have the black community looking at our boys as if they are the problem. Nothing's wrong with black boys. The problem is the white teachers, who are 67% of Cleveland's teachers, don't care about the black boys they teach. So you should be intervening with the white teacher. But because of Snow Bunny privilege, she cannot be blamed. The white woman cannot be blamed for the failure of black boys. So what do? We let them blame our boys for why they can't read. We let them blame our boys for why they can't count. We let them blame our boys for why they can't sit still. And nobody ever points a finger at the racist white teacher. Public education is the only industry in America where the customer is blamed for not getting the product they paid for. When you go to the supermarket and your food is spoiled, you go back to the supermarket. When you buy an automobile and your car doesn't work, you go back to the auto shop. But when black kids come home and can't read, we don't look at the teachers, we blame them.
See, that's why I say, like that, the man and the woman that spoke earlier, there's some things that make sense to people, but it's not correct. Many people think of something makes sense to them is correct. See, most of the things that the woman mentioned is the results of integration. And we have to stop letting people think that people do things to us because of something we did. No, it's something that they did. No, it's something that they did. Now here's a lady here. I wanted to watch this last video. She's gonna break it down also.
So I had some white colleagues ask me what I thought about Trump actually segregating whites and blacks. And I actually told them straight up, like, honestly, I would love that. Now, they looked at me like I was crazy and they almost spit up their almond milk. And I think they thought that maybe I was saying that out of hatred, but it really isn't about hatred. Here's the thing. I'm not talking about their version of segregation. See, I'm talking about our version of righteous separation, spiritual sovereignty, and black sufficiency. See, the truth of it is that integration was never about freedom. It was finesse. It was a system's way of saying, let's stop them from succeeding independently so we can profit from their brilliance directly. It was about control. And so I want us to be very clear about this. You know, we were never separate but equal. So that's a lie. We were separate and excelling. We had our own schools. We had our own banks. We had our own businesses. And baby, we were thriving. Black Wall Street, they burned it. Rosewood, they bombed it. Wilmington, they overthrew it. Why? Because we were doing too well without them and they couldn't handle that. And so that's the truth. They didn't really want segregation gone. They wanted control. This is why we know that integration was just repackage of chains. When we were separate, we actually were building and excelling. And when they saw that we could excel without them, then it was like, oh no, we got to take control and make sure that their labor is profiting us. So right around that time, they rolled out this whole standardized testing, ACT and SAT. Y'all remember that? They created this IQ ranking to measure their norms, not our brilliance. And then we were said we were behind when we really weren't. We were just building our own lane, not asking for theirs. See, I don't know about you all, but I'm kind of tired of the lies. It's very exhausting, you know, just the lies that continue to be promoted. And I want to talk about the melanin, because this whole thing that we're not smart enough, that we're not bright enough, is simply just a lie. And so, you know, all this testing that they're doing, and I have kids in school and they're made to feel that they cannot achieve. And I have to remind them about their actual superpower, melanin. See, not just your skin tone, but in your brain, specifically neuromelanin, that rich dark pigment found in areas like the substantia nigra, which are critical for learning and memory and decision making and emotional regulation. See, if you don't know, then you won't know how to respond. But when you learn about the studies that have actually linked the neuromelanin to higher concentrations and how it's related to enhanced memory and processing and higher intelligence and faster reaction times, then you know why they have hidden this information for so long. Because when you have higher melanin,
well, I'll cut it there because I want to stick with facts, not theory. But she made a more valid point. Because if you know, black people never talked about segregation. We talked more about separation. That's one thing she's correct about. Remember, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he talked about separation. Louis Farrakhan used to talk about separation, not segregation, separation. But they wouldn't allow us to do it. Every time we tried, they put an end to it. Never will leave us alone to prosper. And I remember when you used to have, they said we have remember black liquor stores and all. Why is that? Let her go and try to get a business loan, open a valid business in a black area, and see what happens. That's why many black people have to move out. They have to go where the goods and services are. Those are the only businesses you can get a loan for. You don't see people trying to open a department store in the black areas. They're not going to get a loan for it. And a lot of people just don't have their own money to sink into it. You see a bunch of fried food places. I remember one black guy said, he was saying when I was living in Los Angeles, he was in the black area, said, these people around here eat a bunch of fried food when we went into a certain area. I said, look at where you're at. It's a poor neighborhood. So why are you people always trying to assist black people? By the worst. You go in a better black neighborhood, you're going to see as many fried food. I told them, you go in a white area that's poor. They're going to get a lot of fried foods. But everybody always look at the worst of black people. It's like if we got to do everything perfect or we failed. And we live in a separate society. If we got some loud people, we failed. White people don't have any loud people. And we have some bad children, which most of them are not. But we got some, you see some bad children, we failed. We have to be perfect. Who do you know why the children are good? But see, black people, we're judged by the worst of us. And other people are judged by the best of them. I see nothing wrong with having a separate society. Matter of fact, I welcome it. You take people like her, she's just used, and that other guy, they're just used to being around white people. And they don't want to stop it. Let us stay where you at. If you notice, and black people, and especially conservative black people, they have to speak against black people. They talk about all the black people inadequacies, but never the positive sides. People talk as though we have no positive sides. Everything about us is inadequate. If you find something inadequate, that means we failed. We're the only people who are expected to get everything right the first time. We tried integration, and a lot of people see it's just not doing any good. We don't have the black intellectuals that we used to have. We don't have the black inventors that we used to have. Trump was mentioning 10 black inventions back about a couple of weeks ago. He was at the White House. He said, how America, we've made it all. He mentioned 10 inventions, but he didn't realize that all 10 inventions were invented by a black person. Black people have invented a lot, have contributed a lot. But you have some black people who are caught up in that white ideology. And to them, black people hasn't done anything. And some black children don't learn, that means we're all just dumb. If some black children are bad, they're all bad. You go in those white neighborhoods, police always come being called out there. They're fighting with each other, breaking each other's windows out, all out the cars and houses. I've seen it. Go up to Granite City, Illinois. Meth Alley. Over there by the hospital up there on Madison Avenue. meth heads all around. And they're not like crackheads to your radio or your TV or something. They'll back a truck up and clean your house out. But people don't talk about that. But let there be black people, you hear about it. Because they're going to bring up our worst side. And don't mention the good side. Now that man and that woman and the people that first two people who think that black people can't do anything on our own, let's go on and stay with white folks. Go on with them. We've always tried to have our own. They wouldn't allow it. And say, well, when black people, when they somewhere you see all of them sitting together, yeah, because they didn't come to be around white people. They came to have a nice time with each other. And if you go somewhere, white women allowed, everybody smile. Black women allowed, oh, they so ghetto. So if those people, if they hate their own kind, go ahead. And we've never, and see, race isn't a black problem. It's a white problem. We didn't start it. We didn't cause it. So the people who started it and caused it has to be the ones who solved it. But I'm not waiting for them to solve it. I'd welcome getting away from it. I know a lot of black people do not want to get away from them. You're so used to them. You're crazy about them. Stay with them then. Before, black people used to always talk about separation up until the civil rights movement. And then, like I said before, Martin Luther King didn't really talk about integration. He talked about rights, civil rights, getting black people from up under Jim Crow. That's what he was trying to do. And that's what he did. There's others who was in going to the lunch counters and all. Not Martin Luther King. And what many black, even the ones who want to integrate, I can even understand them in some ways, even if I don't agree with them. They saw that their tax dollars was being spent on things that only white people was able to use. The library, you couldn't go there, but your tax dollars is going to the library. The public pools that white people had, your tax dollars was going there, but you couldn't swim there. So what happened is black people in certain areas had their own pool. I remember the pool in Lincoln Park. Black people wouldn't worry about swimming with white people. But what happened was the reason they don't have public pools anymore is because of that. They don't want the black people and white people swimming together. I wouldn't want to swim with them myself. There used to be a pool at East St. Louis Senior High School. But when black students started coming there, they didn't want the black students and the white students swimming together, so they filled in the pool, concreted it over like they did in many places. At East St. Louis Senior High School, they concreted the pool in, put a gym floor over it, and made it the girls' gym. The girls' gym used to be a swimming pool area, but they filled it in to keep black people, black and white kids from um, swimming together. That's the reason we don't have free health care, public health care. They don't want black people to get it. White people rather see their people get sick and die rather than black people get it. That's the reason we don't have it. There are many things that happen. Like I see a lot of people here, like here in St. Louis, Illinois. The Majestic Theater, that piece of trash sitting down there they won't tear down somebody's history. Yeah, but it's not our history. You know why it closed down? It was at the start of integration. When they found out they had to let black people come in, they closed it down. Rather than let black people start coming to the Majestic Theater. They said it was a theater on Broadway right off of 15th Street called the Deluxe Theater that black people had. You see, black people started running to so many white stuff and just let ours go away. So yeah, we did have all that stuff regardless of what these people say. I don't know what kind of area that they lived in. But black people had movie theaters owned by black people. Doctors. We all weren't wealthy, but then what people you know of who all of them are wealthy? All of us gotta be wealthy or we failed. They talk like some fools. Now we want our own. Something's wrong with that. No matter what we do, we can't please any. The people not pleased, not even black people. If we integrate, people don't want that. We segregate, they don't want that. Now we want to separate, many people don't want that. I welcome it myself. Most of us be around each other anyway. You want to be around them folks when you go to work or have to go to one of these stores like Walmart. I know you're not going to Target, but I never did go to Target anyway. Myself, I know there's a boycott. Many of them are boycotting Walmart. The Walmart ended DEI. But you know, DEI didn't affect us anyway. DEI was for white women to get into the corporate structure. But Walmart rebranded it. They stopped calling it DEI to not get in trouble with the government. So they rebranded it and got their own form because the majority of Walmart employees are black. So I go to Walmart. We can't stop going everywhere. But so I think Umar Johnson, that lady, they summed it up. Umar Johnson, the last lady, they summed it up. Yeah, we don't. Black people are not inadequate. See, most black people have been around that white supremacist ideology for so long until they agree with it. And most of us got it in us because we came up on the same learning that they did. I have to check myself sometimes. And I know better. But that's what we have to do. We have to think more of ourselves instead of them. Many black people are looking at black people from a white lens. And many of us still do. I guess I have to check myself sometimes. We came up on that white supremacist ideology also that white people are better. I remember when I was coming up, the only time you was around white people is when you had to go take care of some business and you always saw them in a leadership, in a position where you had to go to them for something. We started going around them and saw how dumb they were, many of them, and how lazy many of them were. So, those people who want to think that way, that black people are inferior, let them think that way. And go and stay with the white folks and see what you get out of them. The same treatment you've been getting. We need our own neighborhoods, our own businesses where our dollars can turn over. Right now, the way it's set up, our dollars go from our hands to their community. She said there's people selling drugs in the black community. There's people selling drugs in every community. Do we have to be perfect? Told you in Granite City, that's Myth Alley. And they use harder drugs than what black people use. Do you know that black people using hard drugs has greatly declined? But you don't hear about that. Black people mostly smoking weed now. White people more likely to, when they're in a car stop, to have drugs on them than a black person, and more potent drugs. But black people more likely to be stopped and searched. So don't get fooled by that. See, people like that man and that woman, they're wasting time to even try to instruct because they're not going to accept it. They go by what makes sense to them. Like I said, everything that makes sense isn't true. You have to look into it. See, they're looking at some of the effects of what has happened, but they're not looking into what caused those effects. It's certain areas back in the neighborhood you go to, you see all kind of low down stuff. If that's the only kind of neighborhood you're gonna go into and judge by. You think these neighborhoods in white towns are all good? We found that out with the shutdown by how many white people was on SNAP benefits and how they tried to trick us. Did you know those videos you saw? Those black women, some of them running up in stores and all. Do you know that they found out most of those AI and fake, made by bots? That was they were trying to get you to do that, put that in your head, but it didn't happen. But you know who did it? And it was some real videos, some white people. Come on, the president said I could have it. Those were real. Those with those black women wasn't real. And if that woman all she around is loud, obnoxious black people, then she needs to get in a better area, be around some better people. Because I don't see all of that. I see it. Yeah, there's gonna be some with any people. Our people gotta be perfect. We gotta be perfect. We can't do nothing wrong. If we do anything wrong, then we deserve everything that comes to us. So we gotta be perfect. Now, if we're supposed to be so inferior, why is perfection expected from us? You don't expect perfection from something that's inferior, but yet the people who's supposed to be the supreme people can make all the mistakes they want to. So if many black people want to be fooled by that, go ahead. And see, you gotta see how the white people respond. We find out black people don't care about segregation or separate. They think we love being around them. Like I said, we don't come around them for them. We come around where the goods and services are at. They've been stripped from many black communities. And then you do have black communities who still have those things. They don't have just liquor stores. Yeah, you go down in the hood, the poor areas, yeah, you're going to see a bunch of liquor stores and rice houses and all. Yeah, you're going to see that. And those are the only type of areas you go in. So don't let people fool you about black people. I'm not going to hold you long tonight. But look, tomorrow I'm going to be up in the Chicago area in Burbank, Illinois, where the East St. Louis Flyers is going to be taking on the St. Lawrence Vikings. The game will be shown here live on City of Champions media on YouTube and City of Champions television on Facebook when you're watching me now. Everywhere where you're watching me now, you'll be able to see the game live starting at 1 o'clock. But it's going to be up before then, but the game starts at 1 o'clock. So tune in. And look, I'm gonna have my cash apps up on the game because it costs me to do that. I'd be wanting to see because they say they have a thing with uh, um the high schools but the people say they don't see it live. They say it's live, but the doors don't be up till a few days later. Mine stream out live. And I don't charge. I just ask you to donate. That's my cash up in my PayPal. You can donate tonight if you want to. 'Cause I gotta go up there, spend my money, come back. But the thing is, the I can set this up where I can have like a gated community where people have to pay to even come in. But I don't want to do that because I know a lot of people can't pay. That's why I ask people to donate to the PayPal or Cash App. And I don't always have to be live for you to do it. Because I'm still going to have to do the basketball season, state championship game, which I'm sure they. I'm not going to jinx them. We'll take it a game at a time. But but look, we're gonna but we'll be going up there. I'll be leaving in the morning. The game starts at 1. That reason I say I don't want to set that gated community where people have to pay to get in. Everybody can't pay. And I don't mean you ain't got to send in no fee and $40, $20. Any little bit. When I did it with the white folks, just in $1, $2, but it all adds up. Now I appreciate the 20s and 50s and the 10s and 5, all of it, anything. But just help out so we can continue. I want to do the basketball season also, because it's beginning to start up, and now they usually start off in a tournament. I can't do this if I have to keep coming out my own pocket, because the sports program have to fund itself just like any other program, just like this show. It has to fund itself. I can't. I wouldn't take the money that come from the games and put it on this show. Just like I don't want to, but I've been taking more from other shows, putting it on the games, but I can't keep doing that. No, that's not the way broadcasting works. So, tuning in for the game tomorrow between the East St. Louis Flyers is a semifinal game. Whoever wins this game go to the state championship game next week. But we want to keep following them, so help us out. And so we can continue to do this, and we can get the support. We're gonna follow them throughout the basketball season. I heard they got a pretty good team this year, but we'll see. Well, thank you for tuning in. I'm not gonna hold you long tonight. Like I say, I gotta get out of here in the morning. Leave around 6 in the morning. So thanks a lot for tuning in to No More Water Fire next time. My name is Larry Duncan Nally. I hope you enjoyed the show tonight and that it was informative to you. Thanks a lot.